Hi, Veronica. So,
Hiya.
here we are again. We're about almost over halfway through all our culture statements for Chaser, and today we are talking about.
Inspiring innovation and enhancing opportunity, which will be a fun one to cover. I think it really well blends in with what we discussed before, especially about empowering individuals. So it's a nice continuation we're having here.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we get into the inspiring innovation and enhancing opportunity, of course, I think it's important to establish why that's important.
Mm.
Why should we care? Why should the people watching right now give a damn whether we do that or not? So, so I just want to get your take on it at the moment. And what do you think is problematic if people don't?
Well, I think if a company, especially, doesn't inspire innovation and has opportunity, I think, especially with enhancing opportunity, but as we spoke about before in empowering individuals, if you don't give your employees opportunity to grow, discuss their ideas, and be open and communicate freely with everybody else, then they become stagnant in their jobs. And that's also something that you work on. And we discussed it when we talked about your work in our very first interview. Um, People become stagnant. They don't see value of working for their company anymore. And essentially they just leave. And if you don't have passionate employees that actually want to be there and want to get up and do that job every single day, and you have to help them to feel that way, then there is really no point. And in terms of inspiring innovation, I think if that's absent, then the company essentially becomes irrelevant.
Yeah,
It becomes irrelevant to the market, to the customers or users in our case, and I think to their employees as well, really.
yeah, and essentially you become irrelevant. You know,
Yeah,
if you're not innovating because the whole world is constantly changing. We're
yeah,
always every day something new's happening. Every day there's a new way of looking at things and doing things and so on. And of course, if as a business you don't keep up with that, then you're going to fall behind very quickly, and you're going to no longer be of service. Actually, it's not even just about relevance. You're not going to be of any use anymore. I think that's
yeah.
what happens when companies. Unfortunately, we're seeing this all around. We're seeing it on the high street. We're seeing it with traditional companies. Their failure to innovate has led to them being very quickly surpassed by other smaller, younger, fresher, and free-thinking companies.
Yes, and also I think a lot of companies don't even follow what their competitors innovated. For example, let's take, I don't know, fast fashion brands. A massive trend in the past 2 years has become the sustainable slow fashion, and everyone's being a bit more concerned and a bit more aware of how the garments are produced and the whole process of it, and how it's affecting people's lives but also the environment. And most companies just kind of went, we
Yeah,
don't care,
they
or put
didn't
a
recognize
silly
that.
label of join life or whatever on their clothes and said that's enough. We use organic cotton. And yeah, they get stuck in their ways. And I think that is the most crucial thing that we would like to avoid, getting stuck in our ways
Yeah,
or stuck in our ideas. But in order for us to prevent that, we need to listen to everybody else, our employees, our users, and everyone else around us, to not get stuck and become irrelevant.
yeah, yeah, and at the rate of change and the pace of change, we've got more information around us than ever in this
Yeah.
the way the society is now. Now that can either be a good thing or a bad thing, depending where you're coming from, how you're looking at it. But ultimately, the information is there. So if you don't pay attention, you don't look at it, and you don't find better new ways of doing something. Now, I'm not saying that every single new way is always going to be the best way, but the whole point of innovation is you're always questioning. You're always looking again at how are we doing this? Is this the best thing we're trying to do? What are we trying to achieve here? Who are we trying to do this for? Those kind of things, keeping those things in mind means that we're always going to ensure that we're going to be a step ahead of ourselves as well. So, I think that's absolutely one of the things about that, of course, is there are lots of different areas that we could innovate in. Because people can say, "Hey, we like innovation." Well, sure, everybody likes innovation, right? But it's about how you focus and target that. I mean, we're looking at Chasyr, we're looking at innovating all the way from the concept, the idea that we've actually got, through to some
Yeah.
of the technology that we're using to make that happen, right the way through to what we're doing here right now, creating the culture.
Yeah,
We've
so
got
essentially it's technology, ideas, culture, everything. I also think when people use the word innovation to other people, it sparks just kind of technology. And, someone innovated a light bulb. They discovered light and that was it. And for some people, I think when someone says innovation, they think of really hard concepts to grasp and something that is absolutely groundbreaking, that's going to change the world. But it doesn't have to be in terms of tech. It could be, as we said, ideas and culture, and those are groundbreaking and obviously can change the world as well. But innovation is essentially what I'm trying to say. It's not scary, and everyone should strive for it. It's not that hard. And I think if you listen to others and you choose your partnerships and your employees right, then it comes organically.
Yeah, and they're also closely interlinked as well. For instance, you can't have a sustainable technological innovation without the people behind it to keep it going, and
Oh, yeah, no,
without
of course not.
the infrastructure and things like that to actually ensure that it works. You can have the most brilliant idea in the world, but it won't help if you haven't got what you need to have to actually make it become something that's real, that goes out into the real world. Now, an example, one of the innovative ideas that we're talking about here, we're talking about allowing people to deliver to each other, a peer-to-peer delivery. That's innovation from an idea concept perspective.
Yeah.
We're innovating on the technology. For instance, we've recently, you may have seen it already, people watching this may have already seen it on some of the social media, where we partnered up with a company called What Three Words,
Yeah.
which is a whole step up evolution in improving the way GPS works. Now you can get it right down to a 3x3 square foot space rather than a postcode and a house number. And now you're wandering around the street trying to find out where exactly is this person. But actually that technology allows us to get right down to a 3 meter square space. So if you can't find somebody within 3 meters square, then there's obviously a problem, a bigger problem
Oh,
that we
yeah,
can't
no, of
solve, right?
course. Actually,
But
thinking about it, I think a lot of more companies should start doing something like that, especially Amazon. My package last week has been dropped off to not even my neighbor next door, but the neighbor across the street, but not right directly in front of me, but kind of diagonally. And I thought, what the hell? What were they thinking?
well, this is the thing. But you've actually got a postal address to come to.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, this technology has been used to find people who are lost out in a hill somewhere. No postal address, no, so it just gives more, again, it innovates in terms of taking that concept of being directed to a point on a map, but the innovation is to increase the precision of that. And that's an example of technological innovation. And also what we're doing here with the way in which we're building culture in Chasyr. And we've got people here who've built successful startups. We've got people here who've come from a corporate background. We're people here who have gone on to create their own businesses, like myself. You've got people who are still in corporate. We've got a wide range of people. Everybody, to a single person, agrees that the way in which we're doing this is different than we've ever seen in any other company. We've spent so much time and energy on the whole culture thing that recently, in a conversation with a potential investor, they turned around and actually said that this is one of the most valuable pieces we've created so far, that we should go on and sell this. So, that's an example just to say that this is how much we're putting into innovating at all the different areas, because they all interlink. We can't.
And you cannot, I don't think you can create a groundbreaking technology or an app that hasn't been seen before without kind of changing the norm within everything we do, as you said, and not being afraid to try something different. But also, I think with innovation in terms of ideas and culture, we're not afraid to do it. And also that prevents us from letting middle management kill ideas in a process. Because as we spoke about it before, I think it was Empowering Individuals, our conversation, we are open to communication. We communicate with our employees, We communicate between each other. Everyone knows each other. It's kind of Chasyr right now is just one big family. It's not even, it doesn't feel corporate at all. And if we maintain that, that means that if a person at the top has a great idea, obviously they need other people to help them execute it, which is the people somewhere in the middle, somewhere at the bottom of the kind of structure within the company, the kind of the normalized structure within the company, so to speak. And if we don't let it get killed by middle management, if it comes from the bottom, it doesn't get killed either. Yeah. Because we can go directly to the source, first of all, and we listen to each other, we communicate.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's innovative on its own, because a lot of people in other corporate jobs, they don't have that.
No, you have an ideas box. You put the idea into the ideas box, then somebody's personal assistant will then pour out the boxes and work out which ideas they think might be useful or not. And so it's gone through so many, and then they might pass it on to another department. So many filters in there, which eventually means that a lot of ideas will fall by the wayside. We're trying to create a more hive-like structure, rather than the traditional. Obviously, you've still got your organizational structure in terms of responsibilities, but in terms of how we want the information and ideas to pass through the company, that's more like a hive mentality, where you work in pockets and cells. So you could have somebody who's responsibility-wise, they're at this level, but actually in this particular project, they're equal with everyone else. And that I think also helps to enhance the opportunity for people who are in other parts of the company who might, in a normal structure, might feel like, hey, I'm too far down the ladder. No one wants to listen to my idea. But we're setting up right from the beginning that we want to actually get the ideas. And it's not, in fact, we've got that structured inside our company, but looking further forward into the future. So say this is a little way down the line, maybe a few months down the line. We've got the app out. We've got people who are using it. And then people start coming back to us and feeding back to us, hey, have you thought about doing this? We've been using the app for this. Is this what you guys intended? Well, we're just creating the technology and we're putting it out there for people. And the people are bound to come up with new, amazing, incredible, innovative ways of using it that we would not have ever considered. That it's always going to happen. That's like that. And what we're saying is actually, if you have a great idea you've come up with, tell us about it. And if we think there's something that we can actually roll out across everywhere, we'll quite happily invite you on to join the team. That's what we mean by opening that opportunity. It's not even just opportunity all the way through the company, that if the janitor comes up with an idea, we'll think about it. Actually, that's a cool idea. Let's get you in charge of that. What do you need? Who do you need to help you to make that happen? But if a users come to us and say, hey, we've got this kind of thing, we'll give them the same opportunity as well.
Yeah, and also I think it also comes back to the conversation we had about the fact that it's good to let people run their own ideas and encourage them to fail. And
encourage them to have the courage. Give them the
courage. Yes,
give them the courage to fail. We don't know. Hey, your great idea. Make sure you mess it up.
Yes, here is £1 million. Waste it.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. But we want people to have the courage to try.
The courage to fail. And now, another company could say the same thing and be like, oh, if a user has a great idea, give us the idea, we'll work on it. But what's different about us is the fact that they can come and actually work on it because they know it best. It was their idea. They understand it best. We probably wouldn't even think about it. We're just sitting there thinking everything's great and golden.
Yeah, obviously there comes to a point whereby if it then needs a more technical solution, you then bring in all the right people that you need to help with that. But most definitely, still, whoever comes up with the idea first of all, like you said, they've got the best view of it. They've got the best perspective of it. So you ask them and then get them the help that they need in order to get it done, because they may not know everything about everything. They might have an idea. They might not know about coding. They might have an idea, but they might not know how to market it.
Yeah.
But yeah, certainly we make sure they're part of the process rather than thanks for the idea, go away.
But I think that links to our last point that we wanted to talk about, which is work from possibility and not from fear. Now, we do not fear that the person that had that idea will absolutely screw it up. We're looking, we kind of accepted the culture of everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, okay, if there's an idea, there's a possibility, let's run with it. Let's see where it goes. Let's give it a try. Otherwise, if it's always, well, I don't know, let's just send it to the accounts department and see what the accounts department think. Then the accounts department go, I don't know, how much money is this going to earn in the first quarter? It's not going to work, and blah, 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 blah. The thing gets killed. And we've seen so in more recent years, as technology industries and so on, things like that have opened up, we started seeing how what might have once been seen as a totally crazy, wacky idea, we're now using it. Think of all the social media platforms, things like that would be completely pie in the sky, but they've become an integrated part of society now. And at one time, that was a crazy idea. It's just because somebody gave it a shot that we're now where we are. So
now we adapted it so well that we cannot live without it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing, but yes.
No.
but definitely, and the whole thing around inspiring innovation and creating and enhancing opportunity is to be able to move more towards possibility, where we want to be in our future. So we're sort of racing ourselves rather than anybody else, because otherwise all we're doing is constantly looking over our shoulder, comparing against the people around us and what's going on. And you can feel it, even as I say it, it's a really limiting. You can feel yourself being squashed in a box when you're talking about possibilities, all open, and that's where the ideas and inspiration is going to come from. That attitude of possibility.
Yeah, I think we got it. We cracked it down. I think inspiring innovation and enhanced opportunity, the whole statement in the culture, whatever number it is at this point we're doing, I think is the 5th statement, I believe.
I believe it is, yes.
Yes, I think I have my maths right. I think that is a really important one, and it ties in nicely with empowering individuals and everything else that we spoke about before. But I think this one really sits at the core of Chasyr. Yeah. And with that, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And next time we'll be talking about how we use all those things we've just been talking about to enhance lifestyle.
Ooh. Enhancing, respect and trust.
So speak to you again very soon.
Yeah, next week. Thank you.